If you're looking to lose 100 pounds in a year, then you're asking for a lot. Just to start, just take one step. Come and work out one day this week. Be intentional about it, and then it builds on itself because you'll realize that, after you do a great workout, you actually feel really good.
Hmm.
You know, that's the thing about exercise is that no matter how you feel before a workout, 100% of the time, depression, anxiety, all sorts of stress. When you're finished doing a workout, boy, you just feel better. You're
Oh yeah.
happier. You can go out there, you feel like, hey, I got this. You want the quick fix? The quick fix is to do it slow and gradual.
Yeah.
Because if you want the quick fix, it's going to take you forever because you're always looking for the quick fix.
Welcome to the CoachMD podcast. I'm Dr. Charles Glassman, bringing you 3 decades of experience as a physician and a coach. Join us as we navigate the maze of medical advice with real-life stories, empowering you to take charge of your health. In our That Happens segment, guests share transformative experiences, reminding us that we're all human and not just patients. So get ready for a journey into healthcare reimagined, where empowerment and discovery pave the way. Hey, it's Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD. In my over 30 years of medical practice, I made it my goal to help people create a strong mind, a healthy body, and an unshakable spirit. And I launched the CoachMD podcast because there are so many people out there and so many of my patients over the years who would come to me not really seeking advice or wanting me to take care of them, but to give them the tools to help them manage and take care of themselves. And so many people are out there now. There's so much knowledge available. And yes, you do need guidance with that. But a lot of people are taking their health into their own hands despite their doctor's recommendations sometimes, because unfortunately, the conventional way of practicing medicine these days is not always great. It's more sick care than well care. It's about giving pills to people, keeping people sick, having them own their illnesses, and it's not good. So I like to have guests who come on my show who can actually give people the tools and tell and share their life experience and what they've done to stay healthy in mind, body, and spirit. And my guest today is Quang Kim, who is a gym owner actually, but we were going to talk about how Quang got into that and how that motivated, how his interest in taking care of himself drove him to doing that in his business. Um, because as my listeners know, I do embrace and try to walk the walk when it comes to fitness and taking care of one's body. And so Kwang and I met and online and really hit it off because we're very like-minded. So thanks for coming on, Kwang. I really appreciate you joining us today on the Coach MD podcast.
I'm just gonna, hey, dude, I'm so excited to be here. Virtual fist bump right here, virtual
There you
fist bump.
go. Right. Love it.
Thanks for having me on. I'm just
Yeah.
really super excited, and in the first time we met on Zoom, I knew we were gonna hit it off because we share a lot of the same values.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that, I talk about mind, body, and spirit, and you really need the totality of that for a fully healthy life. And I'm a doctor, right? So what is a doctor talking about the mind and the spirit? And our idea of body is okay. Do you have high blood pressure? Do you have diabetes? These chronic ailments. The doctor taking care of somebody's body, and really the body issues most of the time are lifestyle choices that create those problems, right? So but we know, you and I know, and so many studies out there have shown, and you don't even need the studies to show that physical fitness can reverse many of those problems if or prevent them. Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Oh, wow. I couldn't agree with you more. I
Yeah.
mean, so many times clients who come in here, um, they come here because they realize that they're missing out on something that's really important in their life. And And, so many times when they go to the doctor, when they have a condition of some sort, the doctor just wants to give them a pill. They want to give them medicine.
Mm,
And, it's like what you said. We got a system of sick care, right?
yeah.
But I'm so glad you used that term because I've heard that term, and I really truly believe that that's where we're going. And just like you said, I truly believe exercise is the best medicine out there, for the body. And a lot of people think that, they need to get their mind straight in order to, get to the gym and start taking steps in the right direction. And I want to tell them, no, it happens the other way around. First, you get your body fit, and that flows up to your mind. A fit body leads to a fit mind. And one of my taglines I use all the time is training the body is training the mind.
Mm,
And, and I also agree with you that, so many chronic diseases, ailments just come down to just simple exercise, regular form of exercise. That's it.
yeah. Yeah. So, the challenge that so many people have is getting started. And it seems like such an uphill climb to get started, especially for somebody as they're aging, as they're going to 40s, 50s, 60s, people who may have never been active or people who were active and just have kind of settled into a laissez-faire kind of existence and working and coming home and not having the energy to get it. But we know that energy, it's a cyclical, right? So when you don't have energy, you don't have energy. Oh, I'm too tired to exercise. Well, what's like when do people ever come to you and talk to you about that? Oh, Quang, how could I do that? I just don't have any energy. What's like,
Right.
what do you say?
It's true. Look, when you're carrying an extra 50 pounds around all day long, by the end of the day, you're going to be a lot more tired than the average person.
Yeah,
And well, maybe I shouldn't say the average person because nowadays the average person is overweight.
right. Yeah. Majority.
But
Yeah.
it and I well I could I'll never say that I was truly overweight,
Yeah.
but there was a time when I had gained some weight. Um, And then I was very intentional about bringing my weight back down through exercise and nutrition. But, it is not uncommon for me to have clients who come in here who are 50, 60, 80, 100 pounds overweight. And
Yeah.
they know that all of their problems is weight related, you know? Um, so what I tell people, look, if you're looking to lose 100 pounds in a year, okay, then you're asking for a lot.
Mm,
Okay. What I tell people to do is the simple um just to start, just take one step. Come and work out one day this week. Be intentional about it. Have this goal and mindset that on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna go do my workout. And then it builds on itself because you'll realize that, after you do a great workout, you actually feel really good.
mm,
You know, that's the thing about exercise is that no matter how you feel before a workout, 100% of the time, when you leave, you feel pretty good. Um, Depression, anxiety, all sorts of stress. When you're finished doing a workout, well, you just feel better.
oh
You're
yeah.
happier. You can go out there, you feel like, hey, I got this, you know.
Yeah.
But if you get stuck in the cycle of just not doing, you're, the momentum goes into both directions, right?
Yeah.
Momentum goes, and once you start going, you get a regular routine of going, and it's hard to stop. But the moment you decide you're going to stop because maybe you're tired, maybe you want to take a break, well, that is momentum in the opposite direction because then when you start up again, then you have to sit there and convince yourself to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of when I was in my 20s. I always wanted to do the martial arts. I looked at kids when I was younger doing karate, and I was jealous of them. And really, inside, and it's not a good emotion to be jealous, but I did have that. I remember, and when I got into medical school, there was a flyer up for a karate club, and I joined the karate club, something I always wanted to do. And if it wasn't for that, that made my medical school experience much better because it was such an outlet and it was such a consistent exercise and fitness, and for that was truly mind, body, and spirit. And but I remember I'd say, and I did karate throughout my whole 20s into my early 30s, so I was advanced. But even with that, I remember at least 50% of the time kind of not wanting, almost not dreading it because I always wanted to go, but I was just so, because I was working so hard and so tired. And, but every single time afterwards, I felt like you're saying, I felt uplifted, energized, wanting, couldn't, to hitting my work so much more efficiently. And in that, some of the lessons I learned in karate, I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again because I learned it from by this guy Joe Hyams, Zen in the martial arts. He told this story, and it goes to speaks to what you're saying about how one step at a time. It's so this little boy, 10-year-old boy goes to the dojo, and he says to the sensei, I want to be a black belt. How long will it take me to be a black belt, sensei? And the sensei looked at him and said, 10 years, my son. He says, 10 years? That's as old as I am. That's twice my life now. How could that be? What if I practice karate 7 days a week and make it just always thinking about karate? How long will it take? The sensei says, 20 years. He's dumbfounded. 20 years? What, are you kidding me? I'm 10 years old. Now you're saying 20 years. What if I come into the dojo with you? I live here and I eat, breathe, and sleep karate. How long then, sensei? He said, 30 years. So the boy sighs and doesn't understand. And the sensei says, son, if you have one eye on your goal, you only have one eye on the path in which to find the way. And that's so, I think because when you say like someone's 100 pounds overweight, that goal is so overwhelming and so daunting that that's all they have in their head, that the steps they take to get there are, they're not focused on them, and so it's good that you have an outlet. Kwang, what I love to do, because everybody has a story, and I love to talk to my guests about their story and how you kind of came to where you are today, and how fitness has become such a major part of your life and your career. Like, where did that start? How did you get going and kind of early on?
I love to tell this story because I told that story uh, during my TEDx talk. I have a TEDx talk out there from Jefferson University, and it is really my story, my path from young child to becoming a gym owner and a fitness coach. And it really started when I was 12 years old. My father had bought me this weight set, and I put it in my basement. I started working out, and I was like,
Wow.
wow, I kind of like this, that I like working out and exercising. And but I wasn't thinking of it in the adult sense,
Yeah.
like just getting healthy, being fit. When you're that young, you just want
Right.
muscles,
Right.
right?
Of course. Yeah.
You're a young boy, you just want muscles.
Yeah.
Well, by the end of that summer, I built some really legitimate muscles. And my friends, I went back, I went back to school, and they were like, dude, what are you doing? And I would go over to their houses, and they had weight sets, and I'd pick up these big barbells, and I'm like, dude, how'd you pick that up? And I'm only 12 years old. I'm like, well, I work out all the time now.
Mm,
What that serves to do is give you confidence. It's like it's amazing how being able to do things and seeing the results of it, and also, you know, and this is not really why you should do it, but when other people notice and are impressed by you, yeah, that's additional fuel for confidence, right?
Right.
So, so I just had kept a spirit of exercise and weightlifting throughout most of my life. The unfortunate aspect for me was that weightlifting was for me just one dimensional. I just wanted to lift weights. I didn't really understand how to lift weights. I just wanted to do heavy weights.
Mm.
You know, when you only think of it that way and not really thinking of it scientifically, you get injured. You just do things, you know, incorrectly. And so that's what happened. You know, I would get injured and I had shoulder surgery. I've had wrist surgery as well. Um, but as I grew up and, you know, got older and learned more about what's really important about exercise and building a fit, really strong, fit body versus just building muscle, you know, and then I started thinking of exercise in the proper way. Um, so fast forward, you know, I was stuck in, you know, a Wall Street career for many years.
Mm.
Um, and I really was not in a great, you know, mental state because I, you know, found myself in a career that wasn't making me happy.
Mm.
But I always maintained a routine of exercise, always. And, you know, wherever I moved, what job I had, you know, I had moved around a lot. And no matter what, my first order of business, wherever I moved, I kind of would have to plot out where are all the gyms? Where's the
Mm-hmm.
gym? How close is it to where I'm going to live? You know, and that was really one of my biggest priorities. And as I got into my 40s, you know, I got married, I had some kids. Um, in my last job at a company, a very large Wall Street bank, I started in late 2016, and throughout the fall time and winter time, excuse me, I'd gotten sick with the flu a couple of times. I had gotten injured, so I stayed out of the gym for almost 3 months just because of those reasons.
Mm.
And if you know anything about like just working at a corporate job, just sitting at a desk,
Right.
right? And probably not eating the best food, not really moving, you know, and it wasn't long before I put on weight pretty quickly. And you know, the clothes I had bought for that job, I didn't even fit into it
Wow.
and yeah.
Mm.
It was only 3 months of this. So then what I did was I had to plot my comeback. You know, I had to take a step back and say, I can't, you know, I can't allow this to overtake me. So I really planned my nutrition, created a very simple nutrition plan for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it took about a month to get mentally prepared. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you gotta plot out a time you know, in near future and say, okay, on this date, this is what I'm going to do, and then you plan to do things along the way. So I created a simple plan, and on January 1st, 2017, I implemented this plan, and it was very simple. You know, my nutrition, meal prepping,
Mm-hmm.
going back to working out 3 days a week, and in a couple of months, I had lost all that weight that I gained. Right? But the best thing about it was that I created something so simple
Yeah.
that there was no reason for me to stop. You know, so I just kept the same nutrition plan. And over time, you know, 12 months later, I had lost a total of 25 pounds, a lot more than I had gained. And
Mm.
I thought to myself, wow, you know, I'd gotten down to a weight that I hadn't been in since my college days.
Wow.
And it was so
Nice.
empowering. It just felt amazing to feel like I was in better shape than I'd ever been in at at 50 years old, you know. Um, So then when I was losing the weight, you know, people in the office had noticed, my friends had noticed, and they would ask me for my advice. They would ask me, "Hey, what are you doing? How are you doing this?" And really, I really loved helping them, giving them advice and guidance. And that was a realization for me. is that that I really loved helping people.
Hmm.
And with that, I finally realized that what I really needed to do was make fitness my profession because I loved fitness. I
Yeah.
loved helping people. And so I decided, you know what? This is what I need to do, you know? And took some, research and, planning, and I eventually opened up a gym. I believe it was 2 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
It
going to
was
talk
just as,
about that because that's really the timing of that is we talked
oh,
about is, but
not the best timing at
no,
all.
no.
Not at
But
all. 'Cause
yeah, yeah. What I do want to say before we talk about that is what you did, how you developed that yourself is so empowering. It's so much more empowering than injecting yourself with Ozempic or Mounjaro, the medication, the GLP-1 inhibitors now or stimulant. Actually, they're not inhibitors. They're kind of like that molecule, the GLP-1, and uh, those are the what's the rave now. These clinics are opening. These instead of gyms opening, these big weight loss clinics are opening, and I get solicited all the time as a doctor from financial opportunities or for me to open up a clinic, and so it's just a simple fix, but it's so myopic. Like you talked about just the weightlifting, how it's just kind of one-sided, right? The, just losing weight by taking an injection is so one-sided that it doesn't consider your mind, it doesn't consider your spirit, it doesn't consider your life as a whole and the tools that you need to live a fulfilled and satisfying and happy and healthy life. No, you inject yourself, it decreases your appetite, and you kind of lose weight as it goes along, but you're not changing anything else. And your mindset was changing, your total mindset. So you did that and you decided to make a career shift. So tell us a little bit about that, how that happened and when it happened and the timing and all
Yeah.
that, because I know there's a story behind
That,
that.
just you're just saying so many things that I want to like jump in and talk
Yeah,
about.
go right
Let,
ahead. Yeah.
so let's go back to the Ozempic thing. I just want to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, sure.
So you said, it's not an inhibitor in a medical sense, but to me, it is an inhibitor in a psychological sense, is that,
Yeah.
exercise builds resiliency, it builds discipline. And to reach for the quick fix, you're not fixing the root cause. Okay.
Mm,
So yeah, you're taking an injection, and yes, does it help people lose weight? Yeah, I know it does, but when I hear somebody they're taking Ozempic or something similar, I think to myself, wow, have we not learned anything from history
yeah.
about these quick weight loss drugs? They have fairly severe side effects.
Hmm.
You may not see them now, but you don't know 5, 6 years from now, you don't know what's coming just
Yeah.
because you decided you want to take the quick way out. So I
Hmm.
always encourage people, there isn't anything that drug can do for you that you can't do in this gym with a little bit of hard work and discipline and nutrition,
Yeah.
you know? So just wanted to say that.
Yeah. And let
Okay,
me
so
just, what you said just real quick about the side effects we don't know about. These medications have been around for a long time. Okay. I remember first uh, at least 10 years. And they're derived from the saliva of the Gila monster, which is a lizard that lives in the desert that eats maybe once a year and maintains its blood sugar because of this GLP, glucagon-like peptide. And 10 years ago, they came out with a warning that if you have a history of neuroendocrine cancer, pancreatic disorders, thyroid cancer, don't take these medications because they possibly could cause it. So now that this is rampant, prescribed, 5, 10, 15 years from now, what are we going to see? Are we going to see an increase in these? pancreatitis and all sorts of things. So anyway, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
And
just
who else knows what other side effects that,
exactly
5, 10 years from now you're going to get, and you're going to think, oh, it's completely unrelated. Well, you don't know that,
right, right.
you know?
Yeah.
So I just always encourage people, look, there isn't anything a quick weight loss drug can do for you that you can't do in this gym. And I always say, look, you want the quick fix? The quick fix is to do it slow and gradual.
Yeah.
Because if you want the quick fix, it's going to take you forever because you're always looking for the quick fix.
Love it. That's a
Right?
great way to look at it. Yeah.
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 Okay, so how did I get started? So I was 50 years old when I lost 25 pounds in a very sustainable sort
Mm,
of a simple method that I created on my own. And what that did for me was, wow, it was very empowering. Not
mm,
only I created something that was simple, but it was providing me with great results. And the evidence was that, hey, people had noticed and were like, are you losing weight? I'm like, yeah, I am. And I had lost enough weight at one point, and it was fairly drastic at one point. People are asking me, hey, are you okay? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I feel amazing. What you
Right.
see is a guy who's lost a bunch of weight, And not only that, I for many years I hadn't seen my abs, and there they were.
Wow.
And that to me was very empowering.
Yeah.
So with that, there's that mindset change,
Yeah.
that change in attitude about what I think I could achieve. And then I took that to the next level, and I wanted to help provide that type of um, those results to people.
Mm,
So I wanted to open up a gym and help people. And that happened January of 2020, just
hmm
2 months before COVID shut everybody down.
mm.
So as you can imagine, we had this amazing community for just 2 months.
Wow.
And then we had to shut down. And thankfully, we had the technology to go straight online to train our clients online, um, for as many of the clients who continued to do the online training. And it just became a passion of mine to figure out ways to keep people engaged and get them results.
Yeah. Wow. And so would you say that obviously COVID was so bad for so many people on so many different levels, and not the least of which was physical and just not even talking about the COVID, getting COVID, but just the habits that people got into were so bad, and you were able to do that at least somewhat, and you were able to stay open. You didn't, I mean, your gym, I mean, obviously you're open now, and was there any time where you actually had to close down and you didn't have people couldn't reach you? Uh, Quang, you lost your audio there.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I
That's
was
okay.
listening to you. So
Yeah,
yes, I officially had to close my doors between March 2020 to the end of August 2020. So it was about excuse me, no, September. So you're talking about 6 months straight we had to stay closed.
I gotcha.
And it was a very challenging time, as you can imagine, just even walking out on the streets, like it just was weird.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like I was living in some post-apocalyptic town,
I agree.
you know. But we were able to do online training for many of our clients, and then at some point we were able to do outdoor group exercise classes, and um, that was the first time I felt like a gym again.
Mm, wow.
But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
eventually
COVID
we
was tough. Now we talked a little bit, you had mentioned something that when you contracted COVID, and we know that, the people that i- i- what we really knew early on, really, and what kind of played out was that people who had medical problems, people who were not fit. It wasn't just people who were over 60 at higher risk. It really was people who were unfit, who were unwell, who had multiple medical problems, who were unfit. And but certainly that didn't mean you wouldn't get COVID, but you'd have a better chance of your immune system responding to it more robustly in a healthy way rather than the unhealthy way that the immune system responded for people who had kind of underlying inflammation in their body to begin with. So
Yeah.
tell us about your what happened when you got COVID.
Yeah, so I contracted it at I'm going to say mid-December of 2020.
Okay. So when
And
it was still pretty bad. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
the,
There were still rampant like
yeah,
waves of COVID, and then you get new mutated versions of it coming out too.
right.
And and what I had heard about where there varying levels of severity. Some people didn't have any symptoms, and other people had pretty severe symptoms, and somewhere in the middle. And I would say I was somebody somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
you know. So my symptoms were that I had severe headaches and severe back pain, which didn't allow me to sleep very well.
Mm,
Now, it didn't send me to the hospital. I would consider that, very severe. So I was
right.
somewhere in the middle, because I was at
Yeah.
home, I was resting, but I certainly was in a great deal of discomfort, you
Mm,
know, just a lot of headaches and back pain. But I knew I'd get through it because, I would speak to my close friend. He said, "You're one of the fittest guys I've ever met. You get through this." I'm like, I know.
yeah.
I knew that. Boy, but that 1 week, I was just, I can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah.
But here's what happened during that time. I had lost about 10 pounds in 1 week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just was, I was like, I felt like a shell of myself. And it was during that week I had made a conscious decision.
I'm sorry, is that because your appetite was shot? Is
Correct.
it? Okay.
Correct. I couldn't really eat much because, they say you lose your appetite
Yeah.
or you lose your taste buds, right?
Right, right.
For me, I wish that was the case because it wasn't that I lost my taste buds. Everything tasted horrible,
Mm,
really horrible. Like everything I ate tasted like it was rotting food.
wow.
So I couldn't really, the only things I could actually have, believe it or not, was cinnamon raisin toast with cream cheese, um, and a little bit of chicken soup. Those two things were like the only things I could tolerate.
Wow.
And it just wasn't enough for me. And plus, I wasn't exercising, and I was
Yeah.
just shedding weight like crazy. Um, but it was during that time when I had made this conscious decision that when this passes, I'm gonna get in the best shape I can possibly be in. I'm gonna
Mm,
go back to the gym. I'm gonna just redouble my efforts to get in the best shape ever, right? And it was also that time, at the same time, I decided to on a goal, okay? And in order to prove it to myself, not only would I get in the best shape ever, that I wanted to get on the cover of a fitness magazine, okay? So here I am at, in my 50s, and I'm dreaming about becoming a fitness model. And yeah, and I had shared
yeah.
this goal with a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, awesome." Um, 2 weeks later, he said, "I think that's an amazing goal, and I want to do it with you." I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay, let's do it together." So now I had a partner. I had a partner in the same journey, same mission. So we both helped each other. We kept each other accountable. And at, at um, the turn of the year, the new year was 2021, and I went back to the gym, and boy, the first month wasn't pretty.
Mm.
Just being able to lift, I would say lift even just a quarter of my weight at just a quarter of the number of reps, I was
Mm,
winded. The first month was really ugly, but it just got better. Little by little, it got better. I got stronger every day, and I just kept going. And within, I would say, 2 months, I started feeling really good. You know, my breathing had improved,
Mm.
my strength was starting to come back. And as I said, my goal was to get on the cover of this fitness magazine by June of 2021. Okay. And that's maybe 7 months I had that I had decided to have this goal, right?
Mm.
Now I had a person on this, a friend who was on this journey with me, and I'm happy to tell you, in actually not June, but July of that year, I got myself on the cover of this magazine. If you see
Wow.
the guy,
Well,
the one on the left is me, the one on the left is my buddy, and we both got on the front of that magazine.
wow.
What I'll tell you is this is not a fitness magazine. This is a this is a magazine that is published in Europe and in Korea. So it's not a fitness magazine, but I'm gonna say, hey, it's a win.
Well, that's
I
looking pretty good there, Quang,
Yeah.
I have to say.
So I achieved my goal, and I'm a person that's really big on goals,
Yeah.
uh, and achieving goals through, intention and manifesting things through the proper mindset. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Just for my listener or for the people who are watching this, um, it's it's mirrored. So you were actually it's the other right. So
yeah.
you're not the young guy with the full head of hair. You're that guy, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
look
what
at
the truth is that both of us are the same age. We're the same
really.
age.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, both of you look, I mean, unbelievably fit, and that's the main thing. It's
Yeah.
awesome that how fit you are, and how that speaks to, recovery and the mindset to get you there. And I know that you bring that to your gym and your coaching, and it's one thing that I've learned over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years when I've really been into fitness. I've always been healthy and fitness minded, but I'm talking about really like you started. I mean, really taking it very seriously, making it incorporating as a major part of my life. Um, I realized that how important it is to have a community like you talked about in your gym, to have that community. I never thought I'd be somebody who'd go to a gym. I'd work out of my house or go to a class. I never thought of that. I never was that type of person. I thought I'd always wanted to be, but doing it and having that community makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
For
It,
sure.
yeah,
And I like to think the gym that we created here has just an amazing community, or, what I wanted to create was, excuse me, a very welcoming environment that, excuse me, anybody, whatever level you're at, beginner, intermediate, advanced, um, very fit, or maybe not so fit, maybe have a bunch of weight to lose,
hmm,
young, old. I wanted a community that was very welcoming and not judgmental, super high energy. Um, and I believe we have that. And, I can't tell you the number of times we've had somebody join us who's never had a consistent form of exercise for their entire life, and now they're dedicated regulars here. And that to
yeah.
me says we have something special here.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you're missing till you try it. I mean, really, I mean, people just, oh, I'm not an exercise person. Oh, I'm this, da, 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 da.
Mm.
You know, guess what? Once you start,
Yeah,
it's like, it's just so, and it just takes that little push
yeah,
internal push, that to motivate yourself to really, to get going,
yeah.
and I know your gym is on Long Island. Any of my listeners who are in, where in Long Island is it,
Yeah,
Quang?
it's a town called Massapequa Park, which is on the south shore of Nassau County.
Okay.
Really, really great community, great place to raise families, and just super happy with, the decision to come here.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So Quang, I really was looking forward to having you on because, especially, as we get older and you're in your 50s, and looking better and having more energy than people in their 20s. I know I do, and I know you had that competition. Tell us a little bit about that. With somebody in your gym who is in his 20s, another trainer, whatever, and you had was it a pull-up competition or something?
So we've had, I had a couple of coaches here who um who challenged me to a push-up contest. And I said, "Oh, well, okay." And and I love push-ups. Push-ups are probably maybe my favorite exercise because you can do them anywhere. It's almost a full body exercise.
Mm.
You don't need any equipment. All you need is some gravity and a pair of arms, that's all you need,
Right,
you
right.
know? So I had a push-up contest with a couple of coaches. One at the time was 26. The other was 46. So both of them, meaningfully younger than I am. Pretty fit guys. And in my mind, I knew that, not to be cocky, but I just knew they couldn't keep up with me. But they're pretty sure of themselves. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we decided 2 minutes of push-ups. Okay, how many the most you can do wins. And we decided on the rules. Rules would be just like the Guinness Book of World Records, where your elbows go to 90 degrees and you have to come to full extension at the top.
Hmm.
And and the end result was, yeah, I did win. 46-year-old fella came in second, and the 26-year-old fella came in third.
Right.
Now, and if I'm being honest, the guy in second place probably shouldn't be in second place. I'm just gonna say that right there because his push-ups didn't meet the criteria.
Right, right.
So then fast forward, we had another one, just a kind of a rematch, and the results were the same, you know. And then just recently, I'll say that the young fellow who's still with the team, he and I had another competition. This time it was going to be push-ups and pull-ups.
Mm.
Um, and I'm just going to say that the results were the same again because you know
Right,
if you train intentionally, it doesn't matter how old you are.
right.
It's about consistency and intentional training.
Yeah. And we talk about age, right? But
Yeah,
there's biological age. So that's the age, you were born and the years you've been on this earth. And then there's chronological age.
yeah,
I'm sorry, other way around. There's chronological age, which is the time you've been on this planet. And then there's biological age, what age you really are internally, physiologically.
yeah,
And there's no way that I'm in my 60s, and I know biologically I'm not in my 60s. Biologically, I'm much younger, and then that's, yeah, maybe some genetic component, but a lot of it is lifestyle. I would say that genetics contributes a good deal, but there's also a concept called epigenetics where you can actually, through your lifestyle and your lifestyle choices, you can turn on genes on and off. So if your genes that make you chronologically older or biologically older, you could turn those genes off by certain lifestyle choices or vice versa. So, yeah, it's great testimony to how you are performing and how you're feeling in your 50s, and how you're being an example to all ages and encouraging that all ages to you know to participate. And I know you talk about push-ups, and we in our uh, gym, we do the Murph, the Murph workout on Memorial Day, and obviously the Murph workout has a lot of push-ups. So I am still sore, right, in the
yeah,
right places. The pull-ups also in the lats and here. I'm still
yeah,
sore from Monday, which is,
yeah,
I love it. I love to feel, I call it a good sore, right? You
yeah,
know the
yeah,
difference. When
yes,
it's not an injury, it's a soreness, it's a good sore. So
yeah.
I like that. I'm sure you know about that, a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
Look, I mean, it's all about the mindset too. Exercise is medicine. The more you exercise, the younger you're gonna feel, the better you're gonna feel, the better you're gonna look, the happier you're gonna be. People who exercise are happier. That's just
Yeah.
flat out the truth.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
If you exercise regularly, you're just gonna be happier. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks, for those wise words of wisdom, Quang. I really appreciate it. I'll leave a link to your gym just for those people. I mean, this is obviously on the internet. You get an audience from all over, or geographically diverse. So, but you never know. There might be somebody in the local area who's looking for a gym, and it might pop in. That would be great. And yeah, so thanks. I know we'll be in touch, Quang. We'll stay close in touch. And so, thanks everyone for tuning into the Coach MD podcast. And as you know, I'm Dr. Charles Glassman, urging you to stay strong in mind, in body, and especially soul. Bye for now.